Welcome to another episode of Trust Issues. We're Erika and Kyle Auckland. We're so happy that you are here. Today we're going to talk about working out.
Yes.
We're going to talk about fitness. We're going to talk about getting fit. We're going to talk about busting through a belief that maybe like working out and fitness isn't for you.
Yes.
Help you create some simple habits.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about why you should even listen to us and what we have to share from our expertise. But like, picture this, okay? You've known for weeks, probably months, maybe even like years, that you should probably prioritize your health and your fitness. You've started countless diets, hands up if you've done the diets, all the IG diets, everything that people tout and say this is like what is going to work for you. Maybe you've even downloaded the workout apps. You've tried the workout plans. You've signed up with the gym memberships.
Yes.
You have paid the membership, but you didn't even use it. And maybe you feel like working out isn't for you, despite whatever, the scale looks like. So if this sounds familiar, we want to help. We really, really want to help. And I think that when you actually look at data, I mean, this is kind of crazy, but national data says that 41.9% of adults are struggling with obesity, and that number is getting larger every single year. And now we're seeing a rise in childhood obesity and just a lot of health issues internationally. And we really do believe, our dedication to our own health and wellness, fitness being a huge part of that, has changed our life.
Totally.
And it's changed your life. I'm excited for you to share your story.
Yes.
But, there's just so many things, so many reasons why working out is important, your mental health, your productivity levels, your relationships, your self-esteem. There's so many reasons, not to mention just all the physical, your blood sugar, all of that, blood pressure, all of that is important.
Well, it literally, it's pretty well known now that physical activity literally bleeds into every area of your life. It benefits every single area. So, that's, if there's no bigger motivation to start moving or like jump into something, like that should, like whatever you're doing in life, whether it's your job, your kids, whatever you have going on, if you start some type of regimen or just even walking, like just start, it's going to benefit you in
100%.
all the areas of your life.
And I think especially now that we became parents, we care so much about how our child grows up and how he sees physical activity as something that's fun.
Yeah.
And that's something that he gets to do.
And it's not a punishment.
It's not a punishment. And it's not this like, oh, I ate Doritos last night, so today I need to kill myself in the gym. I need to starve myself.
Oh,
like,
God. Let that die. All that stuff.
Please.
Yes, please.
Like, do yourself a service. Just, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Do not work out to punish yourself from bad eating habits or
sure.
whatever else. That is, we got to get away from that movement.
Well, it's like looking at our child. He gets to be able to figure out the limits of his body. He gets to figure out, we're seeing him now. He just turned 1. So we're seeing him like climb over. We have this like climbing arch. We're seeing him like figure out his physical limits. And it's so cool to be able to even see him. He sees us working out.
Yeah.
He has a little set of his own dumbbells. When I was working out the other day, I was doing my like strength Pilates and I give him his set and he's like lifting them in the air. And it just like makes me so happy because I want him to have a healthy relationship with fitness. I think growing up, I very much viewed it as a punishment. Totally. Or, you do this when you want to like punish your body into submission or something. So let's talk about why this matters to us.
Yeah. Maybe we should start kind of towards the beginning of how we kind of got into it.
You need to share your story.
So really there were two things that happened in my life that really got me into fitness. I'd say even up to like freshman year of high school, all that stuff, I never worked out. I didn't care. None of that stuff mattered. Right. But let's start. So the first reason, like one of the main contributing factors as I kind of got older is when I was a kid, my father passed away from a massive heart attack. So like that did not immediately change like, oh, health, fitness. It was more like,
well, you were 10 years old.
Exactly.
So you were young.
So you don't even think on that level. So like, as I started to get older, even into high school, it was like, oh, if you take care of yourself more, it's not going to guarantee anything, but it's going to give you much better chances of, maybe not falling into that same path like my father did, So it was like, oh, it made me aware. Right. And then one of the second things was I love sports, always have, but I've never been like the top athlete playing. Like we went to a small private school, so it was, basketball, soccer, baseball, right? And you played sports because it was fun. You had your friends, all that. And it was my, 10th grade. I think it was 10th grade. I tore my ACL in soccer. So I was sidelined for a year, and my coach at the time, he was like, hey, let's you want to work out with me? And it was like, all right, sure. So after school, we just like started working out, got into the gym, started messing around with iron. And it was like, wow, this is fun. You know, like you started doing it and your body starts changing. And it's like, oh, I can like put all of my energy into this. And at that time, it was more like you put your frustrations into it. Like you almost treated it as like, you know, you go to the gym and it was like you're strictly for your mental health or whatever. Like it was like, just work out the pain away type of thing. But obviously as time went on, it literally turned into my passion. Like it's so much turned into my passion that like, I didn't even really want to play the sports I was playing anymore. Like it was like, no, like I want to work out. Cause I started seeing momentum, like even like lifting, you know, you see numbers go up and you're like, oh, this is fun. Like I'm achieving. Like this is, you know, that's like really what sparked my interest with health and fitness. So like, obviously things have changed as it's gone on, but you know, and I think one of the other things to say is we always talk about this when we were elementary school and whatnot. I had a little chubbiness on me.
You were husky.
I was husky.
You were size husky. Do you say that?
I used
all
to
the
have
time?
the husky pants. I say that to Erika. Hey, I'm not ashamed. It's just, that's, you know, it's who I was. That's it.
But you know, how many people can relate to that? Like
Totally.
their childhood
Yes.
feeling like, oh, I was the husky one in my class.
Yeah.
So this is just who I am.
Yeah.
And they carry that identity for the rest of their life.
You
and they
do.
think, oh, and I think it's given you a little bit sometimes of a distorted view of yourself.
Totally.
You are so incredibly fit.
Yeah.
And I think that it's, you know, it makes you even more aware of wanting to be healthy, take care of yourself
sure.
because you don't want to go back to that.
Yes.
So, but I love your story because I think anyone who's listening right now, if you struggled with your weight your whole life
Yeah.
and you have made it a part of your identity, you can change it.
Yeah.
You are a living example of that,
Yeah.
that you can change that. And I think, well, one of my favorite things, books that I've ever read by James Clear, Atomic Habits. I'm probably going to plug his book 100 times in the show. So just FYI, go read it because it's so good. But he talks about identity versus outcome. And identity is like, I am overweight, or I'm not a working out type of person.
Labeling yourself.
Labeling yourself. And he says what that does, like psychologically, what that does to you is it creates the cascade of habits that comes from that is just never ending because you are acting as you believe you are, right? Yeah. Versus outcome. So outcome is I am an athlete, or I am a, you know, or the outcome really would be like, or I want to lose weight, or I want to XYZ, right? You really want to start shifting how you see yourself with your identity. So start saying to yourself, I am an athlete. Yeah. I am someone who works out. Instead of saying I want to work out, what that really tells your brain is there's lack, versus I work out. I am someone who is healthy. I am someone who takes care of myself. The words that follow I am are super powerful. I think we've heard that once or twice before. Yeah. But that is something you shifted completely because you could have taken this identity for the rest of your life and been like, well, this is just who I am. Yeah. And, you know, and I mean, same for me. I was not a star athlete. I was like literally true story, we went to high school together. So we've known each other literally since 8th grade.
Yeah, probably should have said that. So I was like, we went to a small school together. Yeah.
We literally met each other in 8th grade homeroom. So we've seen each other grow up. And I mean, you know, you were a decent athlete. I was not really a decent athlete. I was pretty like average, if not less than average.
You put yourself out there. And
I did put myself out there. You
played all the sports. You did cheerleading. You did it all.
Wow. I did cheerleading once. Please, if you find the photos of that, burn them. Please burn them. But I just remember when I discovered working out too, because it's funny, because literally in high school, I would go with you to this gym. It was called Mental Health.
Oh, yes.
It was so just like rustic. Like,
I can still smell it.
It literally smelled like rain and mold. Yeah. And like, it was such a cool spot. And just like, even the barbells were like rusting.
Dude, these new crazy high-end gyms, I get it. They're so cool. But I'm like, give me the old school iron, just like kind of dirty floors. Yeah, it's like I know.
If you sat on that floor, were you going to contract a disease? Possibly, but you were gonna get swole doing it. Yeah. No, but I remember you taking me, and it was like you were teaching me how to do deadlifts. You were teaching me how to squat, and kind of the same thing. Like I was like, whoa, this is actually fun. Like it was so cool to see what my body was capable of doing. So if you have a relationship with working out of like punishment or like embarrassment or what are people looking at me and like how are they perceiving me? I feel super awkward. I mean, how many girls that I hear all the time say like they feel super awkward approaching the dumbbell rack or, you know, picking up a barbell and who's looking at them, like for sure. And there's creeps and all the things, right? Like we can all agree that happens. Yeah. But like if you can have that experience where you like maybe work out with a trainer who helps you feel confident or go to the gym with someone and teaches you actually how to do it. Yeah. And then you like realize what your body is capable of. I mean, it changed my whole life. Yeah. It actually ended in both of us getting into CrossFit. Yeah. We got into CrossFit right out of college, I want to say. Yeah. Because we worked out through college and then out of college we got into CrossFit. Yeah. It just was kind of like introduced to us. And it also, I don't even know how. Well, because it drove the competition piece. Sure. And I know a lot of people knock on CrossFit because like, oh, you're just competition. You want to go as hard as you can. But it was like a community, but like you could also push yourself. And it was just like, it felt like you were still in like some type of athletics, you know. That's why there are a lot of like college athletes. There's a lot of good people who transfer over to like competing in CrossFit because it's very similar. There's that element of like pushing yourself and also doing it like in a team environment. You know, you're like, you know, if you're working out next to someone and they're suffering too, like it's like there's a little camaraderie in that. Yeah. But we got into CrossFit, and I think we competed like little competitions and stuff on the side. So much fun. And we had so much fun doing it. Yeah. And it was something that I feel like for me as a female, you know, I think that there's a lot of people out there who say like, oh, if you lift, you're going to get bulky. Ladies, it is so hard to get bulky. So do not be afraid of lifting weights. Yes. But for me, it was like, I actually felt like what it was to be a female who was strong and like, being a strong woman is like so empowering. Yeah. And it just like taught me so much about mental toughness. It taught me so much about my body. Even to this day, I had a natural birth. I had a home birth last year. And I still to this day attribute my life in fitness and my history in fitness and the mental toughness that I had to build to the success that I had in my natural birth. Absolutely. And I mean, you coached me through it. And I'm like, I think it would be a shame. And there's a quote out there and I can't remember the exact words, but it's like somewhere around the lines of, it's a shame for someone not to ever fully experience what their body is capable of. Yes. I think I forget who said that. It's actually one of the, we got to find that quote. Yeah, it's one of the Stoics. One of those. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's like, so it, you know, we're not saying you need to be all out. We're not saying you need to be like gung ho and that needs to become your life. But if you start to shift your identity and if you start to see it as something that is fun and so you start to see it as something that like, you can figure out what your bodily limits are. Like it does transfer over into every other area of your life. And I guess I'll touch on this too, is like my history, my background with working out. I've worked with so many different types of people. I've worked with middle school kids, high school kids, college athletes on the highest level. I've worked with NFL players on the highest level. I used to be shoulder to shoulder with Randy Moss when he would do stuff. Like I've been around every single person. You've also coached the like stay-at-home mom too, you know? But that's what I was going to say. Some of my favorite people to work with are the people who start out like so insecure. Yeah. Because to see that mindset shift, like all of a sudden it just changes. Like that first, I don't know, like 2-3 weeks you work with someone and they're like so timid. Like they don't even want to like move. They don't know what to do. It's like to see them go from that to literally like 1 month in being like, what are we doing? I'm ready. Boom. And you just said it like a couple minutes ago, but just seeing someone become empowered. Yeah. It is like by far the coolest thing. And that's why there's a quote somewhere, but it's a finance thing. And they say, if you're cutting, and this isn't a plug just cause I'm a trainer, but it's like, if you're budgeting or cutting expenses, they say the one thing the guy was talking about was do not get rid of your personal trainer. Yeah. Cause he's like, that is going to work. Yes. Like somehow find a way to make that work because that, like I said, transfers to everything. It's going to bleed into everything. So like, I don't know, seeing one of the coolest things was just seeing, even in my opinion, women like become empowered through working out and finding the gym. It's like, I thought that was by far like the coolest thing. I remember like, well, we both ended up getting into training. We both ended up getting our level 1 cert with CrossFit. Yeah. We've been, CrossFit is one area, but then also personal training. Binder full of certifications. I don't even remember all the ones. We ended up pursuing this, and we, even at one point we had a little garage gym out of my parents' garage. Yes. And I would coach a group of women who, I mean, were of all shapes and sizes, of all different backgrounds, but most of them really had never worked out before in that type of a setting. Yeah. And so one thing that I loved to see was just like that first time that they jumped or like, to a box, like from the floor to a box, like that nerve, like that nervousness that they felt to just jump and then to see when they actually accomplished it,
yes.
their like eyes light up and just to feel their pride in themselves. It's
so funny you say that.
So priceless.
Because that is, I don't know why, the like any type of, I don't want to just say box jump, but any type of jump, like hurdle, like physical, when you see someone like do that, it's literally like you see the glass ceiling like shatter above them. Because it's like they're thinking so hard on this and then they do it and they're like, whoa, my body can do this.
Yeah.
That's like, that's one of the coolest things.
It's so cool. So we just feel like, you know, there's almost never an excuse not to work out.
Sure.
And I know that it's easy to say, and I've been there too, like, you know, over the past few years of having a baby and my body changing and having to literally start over from scratch. One of the hardest things that I've ever had to do was after having a baby, getting back into the gym and be so humble.
For sure.
And starting at zero.
Yes.
And literally feeling like I couldn't even like get out of a lunge.
Yeah.
Like I remember that feeling.
I
so
remember watching you.
Remember, if you were in that stage right now, I get it. I have been there. That humility is real, but you are worth it. You are literally worth the investment of moving your body and taking care of yourself in this way, because it absolutely makes a difference. So I think a lot of people would say, you know, I'm too busy to work out. You know, what do you say to those people?
Well, that's okay. I'm too busy. Everyone's too busy. Every person can find an excuse to not do something. And 9 out of 10 times, their excuses are valid. Like, everyone's that busy. But, like, I think it comes back to, we use why in business, in family settings, everything. Why are you doing what you're doing? And it's like, fitness is the same way. You have to find your why of why you want to start that. Like, it's literally like, a perfect example is you. Just what you just explained, like, coming out of giving birth, and just literally you went from like a stage 10 down to a stage 1 again.
Literally.
Like you basically restarted. Like, you couldn't even do a sit up. Like, it was watching that. But for you, it's like I watch you now and you're crushing it, you know? But it's like
still working on it, but I mean,
you had your why, and it was Dawson.
Well,
it was
my why is I want to be a healthy mom.
Exactly.
I see my little boy who is running around like crazy, and he is he's not running around yet, but he's almost gonna be. He's crawling around like crazy.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of energy to be a mom. It takes a lot of energy to also be a mom and a working mom and a wife and someone who has goals and now a podcaster. It's like, I want to have the energy for those things. I want to show up as the best version of myself. I want to be a fit mom because I want to be able to show my child that his health matters. Yeah. And I have to do that myself. Like, we have to walk our talk, right? So that matters to me so much, to be able to be that example.
Dude. And even, I think over the years, obviously, the fitness you're into, like, even for me personally, it was like, started out the bodybuilding world, right? It was like iron, do that thing, and then you're in the gym for 2-3 hours, that, right? And now it's like, we can't do that stuff now. Like, I can't sit in the gym for 2 hours. That's not.
We don't have that time.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, the shift of like what my why and goal of fitness has been, it's just like, there's going to be seasons of how you work out. And it's like, now with Dawson, I mean, it's getting a little better, but a couple months ago, it was like, I'd go in there for 20 minutes. Yeah. And then just move. I'd be on my rebounder. Probably the first year with Dawson, I didn't even do like a barbell back squat. I didn't even mess around with barbells, because I'm like, I'm just trying to move my body, feel good, and get back and be healthy enough to, you know, run around with Dawson, pick him up, do that stuff. It's like, you're going to change with the seasons of life with your working out, you know? Well,
even just walking. You know, you can multitask. Dude. One thing I just did that I'm so hype about, because I'm like, okay, moving my body is so important. We have so much going on in our life right now, and I'm always the person who will put myself on the back burner for everything else, because I'm very goal oriented in my business and my work, and I will just be honest. It's hard for me. Well, I want to reword, because no, I don't want to say that it's hard for me. Words are powerful.
Caught yourself.
Fix your words, people. So I know that in the past, I have allowed myself to say I'm too busy or there's not enough time. That's definitely been like a narrative that I've had to work through. And I've actually done a lot of work on recently of like fixing my relationship with how I view my time. So what I did was, your girl went to Amazon and I got a walking pad. Yes. Okay. So I got like a $300, $400 walking pad, where literally it's just like, it's like the bottom part of a treadmill.
Yeah.
It goes handles, like up to like 5, like speed 5 or something.
Yeah.
And then I got a standing desk. So it's like a standing desk that you can control the height of it. You set it up for me. And the first day that I used it, usually we try to walk outside, but when I am working, I set that up and I can be on my phone or on my laptop. And literally the other day I walked for an hour and I walked, how many miles was it? Like
a couple
4 miles?
Yeah, almost 4.
I did 4 miles in an hour. Walking while I was doing other things.
Content, all the other stuff.
I was like knocking things off. Not only did I feel more productive because like I was actually moving my body, my brain was just like firing off.
Blood's flowing a little more.
Yes, the blood was pumping, but I was like, yes, like this. I was getting a little sweat going. I'm like, this feels so good. So don't overcomplicate it. Listen, we're all busy. Yes. I am so busy. So many things on the to-do list, but could you take 1 hour where you're going to do something else anyways?
Yeah.
Even if you're watching TV, like, okay, like, I don't 100%. Know, get a walking pad, go to the treadmill at your home gym or a local gym. But those are the types of things that you got to have to prioritize and start like getting resourceful, because I was like, I'm sitting too much. I don't feel good. I'm feeling puffy. I'm feeling inflamed. I got to walk more. I got to move more. Game changer. Okay. So what about like when someone says, I'm tired? This is my like, I'm too tired. I'm too tired. I mean, listen, I've been there too.
We get it. Tiredness is a very valid point because, and I'll lean into that with this too. So all we see is like social media, these crazy workouts, and it's such a double-edged sword with social media because you can get so much good information and inspiration from watching people and all the sources out there, but then there's it also builds up this image of like,
so true,
you have to be this super swole, ripped, whatever, just to you know what I mean, like
elite athlete.
Dude, fitness, it is like, do it for you and that's it, you and your family. And it's like, just like the whole like you have to have 6-pack abs, it's like I get it. If that's your goal,
I don't care,
great. But if I can be honest, like being quote unquote ripped, it's like that's not sustainable. It really isn't.
For a lot of people, it's also not really healthy.
Agreed. Yes.
Being that low body fat isn't always the healthiest.
Yeah. And I'm not labeling that as like an excuse of why I can't do it. But anyway, getting back to like the tiredness part, like I will say this, it is completely healthy and fine to just like start out. Maybe you work out 1 to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't have to be something you plug in every single day, right? Like, and start out, maybe the 1 day a week is you just go walking for 45 minutes to an hour while you listen to a podcast. And then the next day, maybe you use just a little bit of free weights or something.
You need to tell the story of one of your clients. So you work with a client who's a professional chef.
Oh, yeah.
Travels the world. He's like in Hong Kong one day. He's another. So he's one of your clients. And you need to talk about, because like this person has a lot of reason to say, I'm busy, I'm tired. Because he's literally in another time zone every other day.
Yes.
And he's a chef, so he's cooking, he's in the kitchen, he's using his body. You need to talk about this.
I'm sure he'll listen to this at some point. But it was funny. Even when I started working with him, he came to me and he was like, just like I said earlier, I'm ready. 7 days a week. Let's go. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of feeling this way. I'm ready to go. And I'm like, okay, we're going to start slow, right? So literally what we did, we started very slow. I think it was like 2 to 3 days a week. We started plugging in workouts, and it was like, base level workouts, nothing crazy. And
Give
then
us an example.
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I knew him from before. I was with him in Charlotte, North Carolina when we were there. So I knew his body. I knew what he was able to handle. So I don't know. I plugged him in like
squats.
He would literally
push-ups, basics, right?
Yes, very basic, kind of like the Metcon style. Get the heart rate up because he only has a limited amount of time.
So if you're listening, Metcon is like metabolic conditioning, right? So it's like
so it would be
getting your heart rate up a little bit.
Little example would be like I'd have him on the treadmill, go like maybe a 400-meter run, right? Jog, run, however he feels with it, and then jump into either some lunges, push-ups, basic body weight movements, and then finish off with another run. And that's like where we would start. And even if he was like, oh, I definitely had more in the tank, it's like, I know you did, but this is where we're starting, and then it would progressively get into heavier style workouts with him. But that's basically how he started out. And he started out
until the result that he had.
He had, I think the first month and a half, he was down like 12 or 13 pounds. And that was literally because I just changed habits and patterns with him. If I would literally like text him and be like, how you feeling today? He'd be like, man, I'm pretty beat up. I'd literally be like, all right, well, tomorrow we're not doing this. Okay. You're going to do this. It's like making sure he was in a place where he never got to the point where fitness was hindering his life.
Well, and that's, I think, if you're listening and you're like busy, tired, make it work for you.
Yes.
Make it work with you.
Yes.
You know, you can have those results of losing weight with simplicity. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it simple for yourself. And when we talk about the tired thing too, I mean, I don't know about you, but every single time I finish a workout, I feel better.
You do.
I'm more energized. I feel my brain's fired up.
Yes.
I feel excited. I feel better. So even if it's just a 15-minute little thing in your garage, it really does make you feel better. What about for the people where it's like, I'm too old, or my health is already in the toilet, or I'm really overweight? What would you say to someone like that? I mean, we've worked with so many people like that.
This goes back to I've worked with senior citizens. I've worked with disabled people. I've worked with everybody.
You worked with a guy who was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I had at the facility I was at, I ran like a New You program. So we had like all these different people, and this gentleman signed up, and I had no idea that he was in a wheelchair. I didn't even know that.
Until he showed up.
And I was like, oh man, this is going to make me, I got to rise up to do this. I was like, I want this guy to get results. Like, it was like a personal mission. And I worked with him, and we developed a good relationship, and he crushed it. He got fit, and he does like disabled hockey. They do like Paralympic hockey, and that's what he does. So he was like wanting to train to like get better at that. So it was like, I've worked with everyone. So, and I've heard the excuses, and I've had senior citizens who would like, hunched over, and by the time we were done working, it's like they were doing small box jumps, step ups, dumbbells. It's like your body, it doesn't matter your age, you can slowly develop. Like, it doesn't have to be overnight. As long as you approach it knowing, hey, this might take a little bit of time, but I will get to where I want to go. And it's like, those are the best people to work with, and you will. Like, you just stay committed.
And then someone who says, I'm not athletic.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can become fit even if you are uncoordinated. There's so many different things you can move on. And honestly, if someone is very uncoordinated, you start with movement patterns. That's where like your first workout is. You start with like, hey, let's just see your mobility.
Yeah,
like
let's get in a squat.
Yes, these are the most important steps. It's not like, oh, you're not good with mobility. Well, let's do these, million back squats. Like, that makes no.
I always say to myself or say to the clients that I would work with, like, you're training for life.
Exactly.
You're not training. You don't need to train to be some type of big athlete who is like doing jumps on Instagram. Like, that's not who you need to be. You're training for life. You're training so you can pick up your kid and you don't throw out your back. You can train.
Exactly.
You're working out so that you can move boxes in your house and you don't throw out a hip. You're training so that you can have balance as you get older and you don't fall and hurt yourself. Like, these are the things that you're training for. You're training for life.
And to be honest, it was fun. It was definitely an ego thing to like work with college athletes and some NFL guys and just that side of the fitness area. But like, it has been so much more rewarding to work with people who are just everyday people who are looking to get fit. Because they're like, they have their reasons why they want to do it. And it's not, to be the biggest, strongest, fastest. It's like, hey, I just want to feel better. I want to look a little better. Summer's coming, like I want to. Summer's
coming.
Yeah. Like,
I'm ready to look good.
Like, I just want some more confidence. It's like that stuff. Those are the people I love working with.
So good. So if you're brand new to fitness and this is new to you and you're like, what am I even doing? I mean, I would say start with walking. Walking is actually so good for fat loss. Yeah. I have an Oura ring on my finger right now, and it helps to track your steps. Yeah. There's other devices and stuff. I think your iPhone has stuff like that, but you can figure out, I try to aim for like 10,000 steps a day. Sure. That's also why I got my walking pad. If it's getting warm where you live, wherever the weather is, bundle up. It doesn't matter. Get outside and just walk. That's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can put a podcast in your ear, take your kids to the park. I think walking is a great way to start. And there's other things. I always say that like one of the best ways to start your fitness journey is just learn how to lift weights, because it is very functional for life. Again, if you're picking up a child, if you're picking up a box, if you're moving something in your house, you're lifting something. So learning how to do that properly is really important. And it transfers everything else in your life. Yeah.
And even when I first start working with people, especially when they want to start working out, actually the first thing we even start with is like, what is like a day in the life of you? What does it look like? What do you eat? Like, how long do you sleep? Like, those are the things, like, if you really want, because like just moving your body will aid and help, and you will lose some weight. But like, if you really want to make some real changes, it's like, you need to almost start with the nutrition. And it's funny because there's a lot of people who do overeat the junk food, like constant, but But one of the biggest things why people are maybe a little bit more overweight is because they're actually not eating enough.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. But I would say if you are looking to start a fitness journey, like start journaling a day in your life. Be aware of that. How long are you sleeping? How much are you eating? Write down what you're eating. Like write down like,
that's
okay,
really
this was my lunch. This was my dinner. And that's how you can start basically scaling and building a program for yourself of
that's so good.
Okay, I'm not eating enough here. Or, well, this is why I feel this way. Or I only
slept
4 hours. I haven't moved all day. I've been sitting. My hips are tight. Well, that's why you feel like crap, you know? So those
Speaking
are
of,
basic.
I feel like we need to get up and do some stretches or something. Let's move our bodies.
Yes.
No, that's so good and that's so simple. I think
Basic
self-awareness
tips.
is everything.
Yes.
So pick something that you love. Maybe, you really would love to try out a yoga class. Maybe you want to go to Pilates. Maybe you want to try barre. Maybe you want to hire that personal trainer at your local gym. What makes you excited? And that's another thing too, I think, is like if you feel excited about it, or even if you feel intrigued about it, that's probably going to help you be consistent.
Yep.
But pick something that you can be consistent with. We've talked about this in previous episodes. We'll talk about it again. It takes sometimes 2 months to create a new habit.
Yeah.
So it may not happen right away, but if you keep at it, you're going to create a new habit and therefore create a whole new identity where you're like, yeah, I am someone who works out.
Yeah.
It's just it's ingrained in your DNA and it's just who you are.
And something also, even this can be a little bit more budget friendly type thing too, but like, and even if you are a very insecure person with even wanting to start working out, like this is an option you can do. You can find a personal trainer and you can go to them and be like, hey, well, even if you email them, like I have 2 friends who could work out at this time. Would you do like a very small group for like,
discounted,
whatever, like that a lot. I know a lot of personal trainers who do that. One, because they can bring on more clients, get to know more people. But then also it's like you have someone who's super insecure and they're working out with like their 2 best friends.
Yeah.
So like it turns into a community-based thing.
That's so good.
Accountability.
That's so good. My trainer does that. I know she does that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she works out with little groups.
Yes.
I love that. That's so good. Well, I feel like that covers working out.
I feel like we
at
could talk for hours
level.
on this. Yes.
We could talk about this for all day long. It's something that we're super passionate about because really I feel like when you start moving your body, you start to realize like what you're capable of, but everything else in your life gets better.
Tap into your
know
potential.
In my life, when I'm not moving, it's like motion creates emotion.
Yes.
So when you are moving your body, everything else just feels better.
Yes.
So get at it. Pick something, even if it's an app on your phone, do something today and try sticking with it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Trust Issues. If you enjoyed this episode, leave an iTunes review and let us know. Reviews let us know what you want to hear and allows us to get even more amazing guests on the show. Until next time, we'll see you soon.